Okay, ready? Go.
And now let's get on to the. And I've noticed this last year, definitely, and then this year kind of followed the trend that madness really wasn't there.
Welcome back to another week of Raised on Sports. We are on episode 17. And, 17 is my lucky number, so I have a good feeling about this episode.
All right.
But I'm Reagan, the daughter of his father-daughter podcast.
You think by after 17 episodes, we get our introductions down right. But hello, everybody. Jason here, the dad. And good to see you, Ray.
I know. Good to see you. Do I look a little bit tanner?
You're looking very dark.
A little bit glowier.
Must have been in some sun.
Just a little bit. But we'll start off with your week before I dive into mine. How was your week, Dad?
My week was good. Very uneventful as I sat on the couch for 4 straight days, it felt like. So I definitely need to get out and exercise a little bit this week. But watched a lot of college basketball this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Had some friends over, played some games one of the night. Yeah, and your mom was out of town, so I was kind of bacheloring it up. But I did not mind, as like I said, just sat and watched college basketball a lot. So it was nice. It was a nice and relaxing weekend.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you had a relaxing weekend because mine was a little bit different than relaxing, I may say.
Far from mine, yeah.
Yeah, I was in Fort Lauderdale this last week, and it was super fun. It was actually, let me take that back. It was a little more relaxing than I thought it would be. We just laid on the beach all day. There was obviously a huge going out scene in Fort Lauderdale that we experienced, and it was really fun. But actually, on the first night, I don't even know if I told you this, Dad. On the first night, we just got there. We drove 12 hours to get to Fort Lauderdale from Clemson. And we went out that night. And one of my friends, Kendall, got her whole wallet stolen. Like her cards, her ID, like everything. And so we're like, how is she going to go out for the rest of the week when she just got her ID stolen and her card stolen, like straight out of her bag?
Oh, my goodness.
So... yeah, it's not definitely for the week. I will let you know. It's a little bit on the sketchier area. It ain't Clemson.
Okay.
But it was a good week.
Good.
Except for the fact that I will talk about it a little bit later. We watched the Clemson game.
Yeah.
At this little beach bar. It was so cute. Got dinner. Stayed there all night. And walked out of there all very sad.
Yeah, that was a sad day, I'm sure.
So I wish it turned out kind of differently, but you know what? It happens. It's part of the madness, and we just gotta live and learn,
Yeah. Well, at least you got home safe. Everybody had a good time, and I know losing those things kind of hurts, but
just especially because we made it to the Elite Eight last year, and 3 of our kind of key players, not really good players that don't play much, entered the how do you say this? Transfer portal.
Transfer portal.
They're gone. And so I'm a little scared for the future of Clemson basketball, to say the least.
Well, I was talking about your friend and you guys getting home from Fort Lauderdale safely and
okay. What was I saying?
You were talking about Clemson losing.
Oh. Well, yeah, I'm glad she's we're all safe. I'm sorry about her wallet, but what's even worse is Clemson losing. So
yeah. Well, you might not think so, or she might not think so, but okay.
That's true. But I'm glad we're all safe.
Good.
But anyways, I already kind of dove into it. I guess we'll fully kick it off with all things madness because I was watching it.
Dun, 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 dun. That's where we need the theme song to kick into our March Madness right there. Yeah, but after my cue. Ready?
Okay, ready? Go.
And now let's get on to the...
Okay, go.
And now let's get into some real March Madness. That's your cue, right?
Oh,
Yay!
thank you, Madness.
There we go.
How
We have
you
some.
feeling
I'm
that your
feeling.
favorite month is finally here?
I love it. I love it. I'm excited. The tournament is off to a fantastic start. Started with 68 teams. We are now down to the Sweet 16 as today is Tuesday.
64 teams?
Well, plus the 4 playing, 68.
Oh, sorry.
Know your sports.
Sorry.
So, exciting. I'll be honest, and I saw a great quote or a great little clip from Jay Wright, ex Villanova coach, who is now an analyst on CBS, but kind of comparing back to the last year. I think the term March Madness kind of came from Brent Musburger years ago.
Oh, giving us some history.
Yes. So years ago, watching a college basketball game in March, the tournament, and he announced that this was madness. It must be March Madness. So that's where the term originated from. And ever since then, everybody's always wanted that 1 or maybe 2 days of early madness where you've got buzzer beaters and then you're flipping over and then you see this, underdog 10 seed beat a 7 and you go back and you got another buzzer beater. However, the last 2 years, and I've noticed this last year definitely, and then this year kind of followed the trend, that madness really wasn't there. We had a lot of just 10 to 15 to even 20-point win games. There was only one buzzer beater where an actual bucket was made at the buzzer in the first 2 days, or the first 4 days, first 2 rounds. And that was Maryland beating Colorado State at the buzzer, but that was it. Other than that, no, all 4 seeds in each region, top 4 seeds, made it to the Sweet 16.
Yep.
No, I take that back.
All 1 seeds.
All 1 seeds made it.
Yeah.
3 of the 4 2 seeds made it.
Yep.
But all 4 did make it out of day 1, day 2. They made it out of the first, so made it into the round of 32. And what Jay Wright on CBS was saying, that this is all related to NIL and the good or the great schools, the powerhouse schools, just getting so much better than that mid-tier, mid-major school.
I actually do have to note, there's 2 things that I want to note on this. First of all, I sent you this, not even a meme, like just a graphic of how Duke, like the team of Duke, if they couldn't go to the NBA after their first year, the Duke team would be insane with like Jarrett McLean, Cooper Flagg, who else was it? There was like 5 of them that their team would be crazy. So honestly, it's probably an advantage for every other team that you can go to the NBA after a first year. Oh, there you go. Who else is on that?
Can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I can't read it though. You read it.
So you've got Jared McLean, Cooper Flagg, Paulo Banchero, the leader for Orlando Magic, Derek Lively, and Kamon Malich. I don't know who that is, but
imagine that starting 5 though.
Did you send me that thing today? Also, who somebody sent me the or maybe I just saw it. The starting 5 for every Sweet 16 team. Their schools that they have attended, and there are only 2 teams in the 16 of the 16 that have all 5 starters that have been at that school since day 1, since freshman year.
That's really interesting. I mean, transfer portal's insane,
right?
I think especially with basketball nowadays.
I think it was Michigan State and Purdue. The only 2 teams that have players that have been played only at those schools.
Because it's all like graduates that are playing now. Like they're like 24 playing in March Madness, which is crazy. But another thing I want to note, like the class that I was just in, one of our employees, I guess, who works in NIL came and talked to my class.
Oh, cool.
And she's the head of NIL at Clemson, and they just created this new private entity called Clemson Ventures. I can go on, whatever. And she was just talking about how the evolution of NIL is really changing college athletics. And she was like, I used to hate NIL before I had this job. She was like, I thought it was ruining college athletics. I thought from a fan perspective, I hated it. She's like, now that I'm working in it and realizing that like Clemson is a business and that all of these schools are businesses, NIL's the best thing for our business. Is it the best thing for our fans? No, because there's no loyalty there. But if you're working with Clemson's business, NIL is insane.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So if you think about all these Sweet 16 schools and like the NIL that's really getting, it's not even NIL, it's kind of like the revenue share that they're allowed to use within their basketball program. It's crazy that they're just building up these teams and good teams are getting great and the okay teams are getting worse.
Yeah.
Because the okay players are losing.
Yeah, they're losing players.
Exactly. So it's just really interesting.
So, and it's all directed towards the Power 5 conferences, right? The SEC, the ACC, Big 10, Big 12. And look what teams are left in the brackets.
7.
They are all teams from the power conferences.
Well, yeah, and 7 are SEC teams. Out of the 16, almost half are SEC teams, which is actually insane. I know you mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever our last podcast was, that I know an SEC team is going to win.
Yeah.
But it's clear as day. And now that we're talking about, what was the guy's name from CBS?
Jay Wright.
Yeah, that would make so much sense. Yeah. It's just because they have the money.
Yes.
To make these teams great.
I wish I heard that beforehand, because then I maybe wouldn't have picked so many upsets and underdogs and ruining my bracket, because my bracket is, well, it's in shambles.
Who'd you pick to win?
I picked Duke, like kind of probably 50% of the rest of the country.
Yeah.
But I actually picked all 4 number 1 seeds. And I kind of did that
Final Four?
For the Final Four. And I did that with the intent of just thinking that that's based off of those great teams being better. And it is, those teams are elite. Now, yes, of course, they can get beat, but they've already made it to the Sweet 16. So I don't know how much of it is an upset if they get beat now.
Yeah.
I guess maybe if Arizona beats Duke, that would be an upset. But
Arkansas is playing Texas Tech. They're not playing a number 1 seed.
So
Arizona beating Duke. That's the highest.
That would
Michigan
be
beating Auburn.
Michigan's it would be an upset, but both teams are good.
Great.
So I did go with all number 1 seeds. That hasn't happened since 2017. It was the only time it happened.
Yeah.
So I was going with a little history on that and just going all number 1 seeds with Duke beating Auburn in the championship.
And your bracket can't be that bad, considering
it's not. But if I was to pick Duke to win it all, and 50% of the other people in the bracket pool did as well, then that must mean I need to get all of my other games correct.
Which are probably not correct at all.
Well, because I had Clemson for one. So
yeah, sorry about that. I had Clemson winning in your bracket. So let's talk about that for a second. But I have Kentucky winning in my tour guides bracket that I have.
Oh, that's good.
In here, which, because I know normally a number 1 seed doesn't win. I mean, in the past years, it's kind of like they'll make it, but they don't win. UConn wasn't a 1 seed last year.
UConn was the 1. Yeah, they were the number 1 overall.
Last year?
Yeah.
They've won the last 2 years, correct?
Yeah, they've won the last 2 years. The year before
and
that,
they're number 1 seed?
No, the year before that, they were not a number 1.
Okay. But yeah, so I wanted to go with someone kind of random, because if they ended up winning, I knew no one else was picking Kentucky to win. Yeah. But I mean, who knows? It's been absolute. Actually, I was going to say madness. It hasn't been madness, like you said. It's kind of been predictable.
Out of 177 people that were in in my bracket thing, there were 2 people that picked Kentucky to win it all.
Hey, how many people picked Clemson? 1.
Well, you didn't pick Clemson to win it all.
I didn't?
No.
Oh, who did I pick to win it all?
You picked. And now I got to go through all this. Well, I got to scroll.
I know it's not good.
I got to scroll way down to find your name. So
yeah, I think I picked Clemson to go to the Final Four because we made it to the Elite 8 last year, and I'm like, one more round. Like, let's just get to one more round. No,
I'll tell you who is having a really good bracket though is your little sister.
Irish.
Yeah, and she filled that out 2 minutes before the tournament began.
She filled it out?
She filled it out completely on her own. I did not help her one single bit. Gave her all of the, just gave her the computer, and she just went. And she basically picked teams according to if she knows
What they
siblings or friends that go there, whether she likes them or not.
So she doesn't like them.
Because I would hear her like, and she would click. I'd be like, no, not picking Tennessee. So and so goes there. I hate them. Oh, so and so is at Auburn. Oh,
That's
okay.
brutal.
Yeah.
I've been seeing all these memes. It's like the like random sorority girl that doesn't know a thing about sports, and I'm like, yeah, their roster is cute. I'll pick them, and like they're the ones to win the whole bracket.
That's how it always happens.
So
you have Auburn beating Clemson in the final
and winning.
Auburn winning it all.
I mean, my bracket's already in shambles if I had Clemson going to the final. So
yeah,
there's no going back from there. But
so let's start in the South region. Let's talk about that real quick. All right, you got Auburn, Michigan, Ole Miss, Michigan State still left.
Let's talk about the Auburn's close game against Creighton. They that was a little risky.
I think Creighton was a little overrated. Creighton got
overrated or
underrated. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
They got a little hosed at a 9 seed.
I agree.
I don't think they should have been 9. That is a very good team. They had returners. They had experienced players. Fantastic coach. So yeah, that was a scare. But
that was close. And I say Michigan absolutely like slaughtered Texas A&M, number 4 team, number 4 seed, but they barely beat UCSD.
Yes,
and UCSD. Do you see all this stuff about UCSD?
Yeah, the darlings of the tournament.
Yep, they're so cute, and the fact that they like took their name tags after the press conference, like I thought that was. Just
they wanted those as souvenirs.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. Do you think they'll be back next year? I don't know.
Or they'll be in the transfer portal.
Oh, true. But I feel like Auburn is kind of the easy pick for everyone in this game. I would love to see it be a good game, and Michigan put up a fight. But Auburn's so good. Like Auburn's great.
So of those 4, I'm going to write it down and document it. Who are you? Because we're starting all over now with picks. That's the beauty of March Madness is you can just start over, throw your old bracket away, and start new. So here we go. Of those 4 out of the South region, Auburn, Michigan, Ole Miss, Michigan State, who's coming out and going to the Final Four?
Auburn is beating Michigan. And I think this next game, Ole Miss against Michigan State, will be low-key a challenge. I don't think Ole Miss should have been seeded at 6. They kind of killed it against UNC and Iowa State. So I'll pick Ole Miss because
I'm just gonna write down predictions of who's getting out, who's winning the region.
Oh.
So who's winning the region?
So only pick one out of the 4.
Pick your one team who's winning that region, going to the Final Four. Okay. All right. Let me write that down.
Who are you picking?
Okay. So yeah, now it's my pick. I agree. It's going to be real hard to sway me off of some of these number 1 seeds right now.
Yeah.
But Auburn's playing well. Like you said, they kind of got a little scare in the Creighton game. I think they now get to go home and prepare 4 days because they don't play until Friday. So they get 4 days of preparation for for Michigan. So I think that with an extremely good coach and Bruce Pearl, I think he will get them ready. I think it would be a different story had they been playing Michigan on that, break, play, and then you get a break and you play the next day, 1 day rest. I think it would be very tough for them to prepare for Michigan. But I think because they get the 4 days to prepare, I think Auburn will beat Michigan and will beat them. I'm going to say pretty good.
Okay. And then you think they're going to beat Ole Miss or Michigan State pretty good?
I don't know if it'll be pretty good. That might be, if it's Michigan State, I think that's going to be a heck of a game. But I just think Bruce Pearl and that team and Jalal Broom, the player candidate of the year, will have something to play for. So I will go Auburn as well.
All right. That's good. We'll go into the East region next.
Moving the East, Duke, Arizona, BYU, Alabama.
Cooper Flag is in. He's been playing insane for Duke. Arizona, I feel like Arizona's kind of a sleeper after beating Oregon a couple days ago. I feel like this might be a little bit of a challenge for Duke. I still, because I've seen Duke lose on Clemson's territory and I watched them lose, I am not the biggest fan, but I'm like, guys, they're overrated. Like everyone's saying that they're gonna win. They're overrated. I'm like, Clemson was the first one out and Clemson beat them. I feel like get them in a rough spot and someone can beat them.
Now you remember they did play earlier in the year. They did play back in December. Duke went to Arizona.
And Duke won.
And Duke beat them by, I believe, like 10.
Okay. I mean, obviously, I think Duke is going to win that game. But when you put it to BYU and Alabama, Bama's another favorite in the brackets. But they haven't really beat good teams yet.
No, but they seem to be getting healthy. Well, they just beat St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, Robert Morris.
And Robert Morris in the first, So I think Alabama, their biggest question coming in was their health. And it seems like even after this last game that everybody's healthy and playing. So I do like that as well.
I'm going to pick Bama just because I don't know. I don't think Duke is it on a stick like everyone makes him out to be. I think Cooper Flag is it on a stick. I think he is going to the NBA tomorrow. But I don't think the team as a whole is as good as people make him out.
The one thing that I like about Duke is that it seems like on any given night, anybody can step up and play for them. So they've got a very good squad. They got a very good squad. Obviously with Cooper Flag, but you could have your point guard, your shooters, your bigs, everybody kind of just have an off night and there's somebody else to step up. So with that said, I am all in on Duke.
I know you are.
I mean, obviously it's a team that I have loved for years and years and years, and I've loved watching and believed in Coach K and Duke basketball. So my heart is definitely there, but this team is so good.
I know.
Team is so good, and the way they're playing, and Coach Shire's got them going right now. I'll pick Duke out of the East region.
All right. Going with the favorites, I guess.
Yep.
Now with the Midwest region, we have Houston and Purdue, and then Kentucky and Tennessee. I think the Kentucky versus Tennessee game will be one of the best games so far, or at least in the Sweet 16, just because I feel like they're a very good matchup, and they're both very good. I don't see one specifically better than the other right now. So I just think it'll be a great game. I think Houston will definitely beat Purdue. I mean, Purdue just took down McNessie, I know, with their famous manager.
I don't even know if that guy needs any more publicity, especially not on this high-profile podcast. But my goodness gracious. You're now giving NIL deals to the team managers for carrying a boombox and
$100,000 of NIL deals this guy got.
Yep.
Nobody would even know.
I wish I could go back to college. I would get myself one of them deals.
Good. But yeah, I don't think I don't think Purdue will beat Houston, but I think this Kentucky-Tennessee game will definitely be good. I mean, I just said I had Kentucky winning my brackets. I don't know why. I just kind of had a feeling that they were going to do well. And with that being said,
is that where you're going?
I don't know. I wanted pick upsets, but like you said, the madness hasn't been.
Kentucky would be an upset coming out of that region. That would be a 3 seed. You got to beat the 2 and then possibly the 1.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to pick the upsets because, like we were saying, it's the madness isn't crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll pick Kentucky because why not? Hopefully, the Sweet 16 is when people start dancing and get crazy.
I like it. Big Blue Nation. Kentucky has already beaten Tennessee twice this year. So the big talk is, can they beat them a third time? Right? That's very tough to do. Beat the same team 3 times in a row in a year. So that game will just be, I think that'll just be must-see TV. That'll game will be on Friday. It'll be on Friday night.
Perfect.
The South and the Midwest are on Friday.
Okay.
So that'll be a fun game to watch. I do like Houston to beat Purdue. Something just about this team, the way they're playing, Coach Sampson, everything about them. I love the way their tenacity, their feistiness, their physicality. They play hard, and I love that team. So I will say Houston will win that, and I am going to go Tennessee to win the other game.
Okay.
And then here's where I will jump out on a limb. For the first time ever, Tennessee will reach the Final Four.
First time ever.
Well, I know the coach. I know for the coach, it's his first time.
Okay.
Might need to fact check the other.
Okay, so you're swaying off the number one seeds.
Coach Gilmore, if you are listening, please fact check me. Has Tennessee ever made it to the Final Four?
I'll tag him when we post it.
Sounds good. So I'll pick Tennessee. That'll be my little surprise pick of the day right there.
All right, I'll take it. Now finally for the West region,
yes,
we have Florida versus Maryland, and then Texas Tech against number 10 seed Arkansas.
The lowest seed to make the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
And I do have to make a side note here.
Say it.
So I'm in a Calcutta pool. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard you say that.
Oh.
You probably explained it to me before, but explain it to the fans.
Okay, I will give you the brief explanation of it. It is completely different than a bracket pool. Basically, it is a group of people, and you are auctioning off every single team in the tournament.
Okay.
So you're starting your bid at $5 and go up to as whatever you'd like to bid, and the highest bid basically owns the rights to that team. And as the team goes throughout the tournament, if they win, you're winning a percentage, and if they lose, you're obviously out. So, I actually owned Arkansas in the Calcutta pool, and one of the bonus things was the lowest seeded team to reach the Sweet 16 gets a little bonus payout. So Arkansas.
Let's go,
Pig Suey.
So are you picking them to win the West region?
I am not picking them to win the West. I will go first, and I am hands down picking Florida.
Okay.
They are so fun to watch. Those guards are amazing. I love them. Although I do think, and if you heard this term, the Crab Five.
No.
Maryland's starting five.
Okay.
Is now called the Crab Five in reference to the Michigan Fab Five from back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Where it's all freshmen.
I know that.
And they are really fun to watch, and possibly the best starting five in the nation after that.
They're all freshmen.
And they don't have a lot else after that. So they're really good though. But I think that's their buzzer beater win against Colorado State.
Yep.
Just it was a scare. They got by, and I think Florida now just steps on both these teams.
On all the crabs.
All the crabs, and then steps on Pig Suey in an SEC rematch, and Florida will make it to the Final Four.
All right. I mean, I do have to say that 2 weeks ago when I made my picks, we said before March Madness even starts, give me a winner right now. Give me a winner. Do you remember who I said?
Texas Tech.
No.
Oh. Florida.
Yes, I picked Florida.
So why didn't you pick them in your bracket?
Because I actually don't know. I just kind of went off a whim.
Okay.
And you never know what happens during March Madness. So in the podcast, I picked Florida. But the funny thing is, I had a couple friends text me after listening to the podcast saying Florida is a wild take. Why would you take Florida?
Interesting.
So I kind of want to prove them wrong. But with that being said,
to all the haters out there,
all our haters, like you said, after Colorado State upset Memphis was like a huge upset in the first round. Mm-hmm. And then Maryland, like you said, buzzer beater barely slid past them 72-71. And so I think Florida will definitely, like you said, step on those crabs and win that game.
All right.
For Texas Tech, Maryland, you gotta root for Texas Tech, Arkansas. Sorry, you gotta root for Arkansas, because obviously they're the highest seed lowest.
Coach Pitino.
Yeah, Florida. is definitely winning this
Coming out of
region.
bracket. All right. So you have Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, and Florida. I have Auburn, Duke, Tennessee, and Florida.
Okay, so you have 3 1 seeds and 1 2 seed.
3 1s and a 2. Yep.
All right. Well, we'll see how this plays out this next weekend. I'm really excited to watch. We also have some fun guests coming on
Can't wait.
in the near future. So get excited for that. We're finally getting rolling with guests. Also, please comment and tell us who you want to see on this podcast, because I think the guests will be really fun and kind of ramp up our podcast. Also, I'm going to create a social media account. So if you're listening till this far, please follow our TikTok, Raised on Sports, and our Instagram, Raised on Sports. I'll be posting clips and just pictures of us, Dad. I'm excited to get that rolling.
Love it.
But I'm excited for these next couple weeks in March Madness and everything that is coming in sports.
It'll be good. I can't wait. We got games resuming on Thursday, so it's nice just to kind of have a little breather here. We'll get back at it, enjoy the weekend, and then we'll get back to our fans here next week and see how we're doing.
For sure. All right. Have a great rest of your week, Dad. Love you.
Love you.
Raised on Sports. Bye, guys.
Peace out.